if there's one massive like cataclysmic problem, that is the enemy that we're trying to solve for.
Okay.
That like software sales is getting harder than ever. There's like the gatekeeper or getting through is harder than ever. Like there's a belief system, and that can just be, you know, deals are getting more difficult to close and so on, because we're trying to attach people to one single belief. That if we can overcome this one simple belief, then software sales is easier. That's basically it.
Okay. Okay. So you wouldn't call out 3 different problems that people have, but just having one big problem.
It's one massive problem, and then basically like there's like manifestations of it. So it's like software sales is it's kind of like, I had a podcast with Keenan the other day, which was really good for you to review. He has a new book called Gap Prospecting.
Yeah, I know.
And he has a new book coming, which is actually called like Gap Revenue, like Revenue Gap, right? And the whole idea about his new book, not even then the one that he's writing, is that software costs are increasing, but sales team performance is declining. So people are spending more on software tools, but their actual performance is going down. That's actually the problem that he's solving inside of it. It's actually a very interesting idea. And then how does that manifest? You spend time in your pipeline, you know, gluing everything together. You spend so much time on sales admin and over engineering Clay and all these bullshit tools. And then you're super confident about how your pipeline looks, but it doesn't tell you the full story. So he's basically writing a new book, which is hold the thesis of, hey, you don't actually need more tools, you just need better skills. And then the whole thesis, I haven't even read the book, but using an example, I believe that the idea will be that, hey, if you learn this specific skill, gap selling, you don't fucking need the tools. You know, I imagine that's going to be one of the angles of the book. And I think it's one, true, and then two, like super, super relevant. So he can rip a webinar on that and then basically help, like, which is what he'll probably do, you know?
So how I could reframe it, so my idea is, so these are real numbers, right? So we know that this year only 26% of sales reps in SaaS sales will hit their quota, only 26%.
Great.
10 years ago, it was 80%. So it's the same frame. Sales performance is declining from year to year to year. On the other side, companies are spending more and more money on software, so where is the fucking problem?
Yeah.
Would be a good angle.
Yeah, this is great. This is really, really good. This is really good. I love it.
It's basically just changing a few sentences in the hook. It doesn't change the essence of the webinar.
No, not at all, man. But this is the thing, right? This is what's interesting about positioning, because positioning isn't about changing the product. People have a mental breakdown when I tell them to change the positioning. It's the same product. It's the same solution. It's the same outcome. It's everything's the same deliverables, but it's how it's shown in the market. And it's just basically creating more of like a painful angle that we're trying to solve, you know. And this is where this is how we get out of the whole deliverables aspect and more in terms of like outcome. Like they're going to come and get this specific outcome, but it's just, what's important here is, we had an instance of this in Incubator yesterday. A guy said he had an agency for website builds. He was like, well, I don't generate revenue, I just build their websites. And I'm like, that's completely wrong. You do actually generate revenue by building a website. You just haven't created that gap in the sales process to even ask them, what's the fucking point of creating a website? You know, just a simple question. So that's a simple example, but it's important for this because we're just trying to show them that, one, this is true. And regardless if you go with me or not, statistically, you're kind of screwed. Just statistically. So this is the problem that needs to be solved, and then enter in the mechanism. So this is your like software sales formula. But the thing is, you use this yourself at MongoDB, all these companies, and you crushed it. But they also need to see that does this work for them. So how it works for them is you give the example of Jerry, Tommy, fucking whoever, who are in those exact same positions. To take things another step further, I would explain it through a story, the mechanism. So the example we're looking at here is pipeline generation, right? So generating effective pipeline to make sure that it's looked into it. So instead of just saying, you need to know your pipeline, and instead of saying you need to know your pipeline to make money, just like Jerry, you'd say, listen, Many people, think that they understand where their numbers are. They have no idea what that looks like in reality. But if you're able to build that, you're able to understand exactly how much money is going to come and when the deals are going to close and how they're going to close. When Johnny did this, he was in that exact same position. He had no idea beforehand. He was using a spreadsheet, all this bullshit. And then we gave him this simple pipeline generation tool. And then he was able to find a way to generate that pipeline and close it. And we use a few different tools as well to do it. So then they see the value, the example, and the story. Because again, like the story is actually what they're going to buy versus like the literal sense. Because the only thing that they're going to buy is the nuance that you can provide. Everyone knows that they need a pipeline. Everyone knows that they need discovery, and everyone knows that they do demos. But they need to know how you are going to do it and how you did it. That's actually it. It's how you've done that specifically for people.
So you basically are telling a story where you describe like a contrast, not a transformation, but you're saying more something like, "Hey, this the guy, he has an issue because he was doing this wrong. Then there's another guy I was coaching, and he had the same problem, and we changed X, Y, Z. We gave him this and this framework, and now he is a rock star."
Yeah, and then even up here, right? It's like, when you're discussing, and this is, Sarah, hopefully very relevant for you too, right? When you're starting out straight away and you're like, there's 26% of people that hit quota. You could just be like, but guys, it doesn't actually have to be like that. When I started working with Johnny, we were really, really working hard on XYZ. He was the one that was at 25% or 30%, and he got to 150%. And you leave it hang. You're like, so that's just, so it's not like, you need to have special powers. Because he did it. And it's like, because he did it, you did it, right? And it's like, I know people who start webinars like that, which is like, here's the biggest opportunity to get into sales, high ticket sales. Straight away off the bat, there's this woman. She had, she's a mother, a single mom, all this kind of shit, and then she got 20K a month. That would be straight off the bat of the webinar. And it's just like, that's the power of what we do. Because it is good to do like doom and gloom, to be fair. But then you need to show like, okay, like it isn't just terrible. It's not like a news channel, right? And then we have some other stuff like this. But see, the reason why this is kind of challenging with these examples is because they might just not be as relevant, really, just as in terms of when you explain 5 different concepts and now there's 5 different examples for the concepts, just less relevant,